Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for day 7 of 12 books before Christmas. And today I'd like to tell you that my guest is Melissa Kirkpatrick. I know Melissa is Missy, so if I mess up there, I'm not going to explain it anymore. But I knew Melissa years ago when we went by Missy. So anyway, Missy, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Melissa. Melissa Kirkpatrick is a transformational coach and motivational speaker. She has been featured in Cincy Magazine, Cincy Chic Online Magazine, and is the author of the impactful self-help book, 5 Steps to Your Own Drive. I love that. Melissa offers one-on-one services, motivational speaking, and hands-on workshops, allowing individuals and teams to shift their drive from stuck to unstoppable. And I want to mention also here that Melissa was nominated for one of the best top 3 of life coaches in Cincy Chic. Was it? Yep. Yes. Yep. So if you know Missy and you want to go vote for her, go to Cincy Chic and you can find out how to nominate and vote for her, or she's already nominated. So you can vote for her. Oh gosh. So Melissa, why don't we start today? Oh, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Colleen Wheatmartian, and I'm the co-owner with my son of Your Literary Prose. And we help people publish books anywhere from beginning to end, anywhere in between, and help you figure out the path and avoid the confusion. So that's what we do.
Love it.
Melissa, do you want to talk about your 5 steps to finding your own drive? And tell me a little bit about the book, and then we'll converse about it some.
Okay, great. Well, Colleen, thanks for inviting me to be a part of this series. And I know us knowing each other, we go back a long way. So calling me Missy, that's fine. And I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Your Own Drive, because I recognized, one, Find Your Own Drive started on the golf course. So when I owned and operated golf courses, that's where you and I got to meet each other and played golf together and just had an amazing time. I was teaching women about the game of golf and how to play, and then taking them out and taking lessons. Mm-hmm. And what was going on behind the scenes was the desire that I had been coached by coaches. And so now I'm coaching these individuals, and I started recognizing how they're showing up on the golf course is probably how they're showing up in life, and how they're treating that little white ball might be how they're treating themselves or others. And so when I took the coaching off the golf course, as I started recognizing this, I took my own understanding about Find Your Own Drive, the name of my business. And DRIVE is an acronym to create this self-help book so that individuals who are like just tapping into like, there's got to be more, I've got to find my drive. And the acronym being, you desire something first, you receive it at the heart space, then you start implementing the path, and then you visualize the outcome, because that's the magic. If you can see it in your mind's eye, you can create it as your reality. And then you just naturally evolve into that next version or season of yourself, which then you can rinse and repeat and start again. So the book is designed to lay out all of the understanding around creating a desire all the way through those steps. It has a worksheet included with it as well. And it is free to anyone who's ready to step up and start getting their life on point and learning how to find their own drive.
Great. Well, Melissa, when you, after today, or we'll put the link in the comments here, and people can go and sign up there. And would you want to tell us what the link is right now, though?
Yeah, it's findyourown.com/ebook.
Oh, wow.
And when you sign up for it, you also get the video training that goes along with it as well. So you're going to have video training with me that comes with that as well. But yeah, findyourown.com/ebook. I try to make it simple.
Yeah, really. That is simple. That's great. Great. Yeah. And I have a couple questions. So sure. What was your most challenging part about writing your 5 steps?
Oh, well, probably the biggest challenge. I knew the steps and I knew how to communicate it like this.
Mhm.
But wow, when you put that pen to paper, the grammatical, I was a teacher years prior. So I had the, the knowledge, experience and things like that. But when you're writing for yourself, that's where it becomes the struggle. That's where people like you come in and really make that transition, because that was I second guessed myself, right? Like I could proofread someone else's work and see a lot, kind of like we can look at other people's situation. But when we try to look at our own, and then it was like, well, what do you say? What, because the value's for the reader, not what
Right.
I want, but what the value I'm giving to the reader. And so that was probably the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that too. Like I can write for other people, but writing for myself, I second guess myself. Like to write a blog on our post, which we haven't done lately because I got in the mindset of like, well, it takes hours, and doing it up here, but writing it out is very difficult for yourself, but I could do it for other people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, and what's helped me too is I published in 2 collaboration books as well. One is Coaches Collaborative, and then Mom and Dadpreneur's book. So that was a really great experience, because again, you got to learn how to flush things out and how to, really get to the point quickly and not have a drawn out story. But what's really been my I haven't written a book. I know it's on my bucket list, and it might be a memoir. It might be a lot of books, might be a series. I don't know. But I've been writing for Cincy Chic's online digital magazine as their life coach for the past 2 years. And so those simple 300 to 400 word blogs or articles are really helping me to fine tune and really create more of the understanding of how you put things together. But again, someone of your services is where I know I'll go to as soon as I say, okay, now it's my book that I'm going to write, because, it's still a challenge no matter, I guess the point was, even though I've been writing for them for over 2 years, it's still, like you said, a challenge to step into the writing mode and write the articles. So.
Right. And one thing when I was mentioning the blogs is, the blogs are 300, 400, 500 words, and it doesn't even seem like it's that hard to do. Like you should be able to knock it out in an hour and a half or so, and it takes 5 hours. I'm like going back and forth. And I always remember too, I have this on my desk too. When you write, show, don't tell. And
Yes.
Peter keeps reminding me of that, show the reader what it is. Don't tell them, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, great. Well, we'll make sure we put the link in there. Oh, and I have one more. What is a piece of advice you would give to authors or anybody wanting to start a story?
What would I tell someone? I mean, the thing is, forward action. Always take inspired action. If you have a desire, even if you start with, I have tons of legal paper and notes and stuff where I've written different ideas or outlines or topics or subjects. Like, I think it's really just taking that action and then follow someone who's creating this. Like, I always, like with my clients, I want them to have mentors in the sense of, I'm going to follow the person that I'm trying to be. So if you want to write, find that author that really, motivates you and inspires you, and you read their stuff like with ease. So like your Brene Browns or your Mel Robbins or, Tony Robbins stuff. Like if that's your author, I feel like if you follow them, then you start hearing how they communicate and transfer the message to where then you're able to like get yourself feeling like, I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
So, and get someone to help you when it gets to the point where you're ready to start, putting the life into it. Because that holds the accountability to keep you going for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
We just, in our book club that we just finished Stephen King's On Writing. Have you read that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Stephen King like fan of the grit and stuff he writes, but this book is it was awesome. And everybody in the group were not really big fans of his writing, but they all loved this book because it was almost like a memoir. And he told you like how to do things, but what he lived through and how he became a writer. It was a really cool book. Really cool.
Oh, wow. To check that out. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, but well, thanks for that advice. And I guess I'll go on and I'll talk about my favorite book, one of my favorite books. And today I'm talking about, it kind of goes a little with your knowledge or your drive about moving forward, that kind of thing. That kind of is why I picked this one today. But I don't know, have you read Girls Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis?
I've not read that one. I think I've read all the other ones, but yeah, was it Wash Your Face? That was her other one,
Right.
Girl Wash Your
Right.
Face.
That was the first one I read. Yeah. And I
Wow.
talked about that one the other day, but I thought I'd talk about Girls Stop Apologizing today. And that's by Rachel Hollis. And I think it goes back to a lot, mostly women who want to people please. You know, you don't want anybody to not like you or say something horrible about you online or hurt your feelings, that kind of thing. Well, she talks about in this book that as much as we try to live life on our own terms and keep our own values and opinions, then not care about what other people think, we have to really work on doing that. A lot of people, I'm not saying all women, I'm just saying a lot of people. And I know I find myself doing that. Like I don't want someone to like me, or, oh, if I said something that offended somebody, then, oh my gosh, you know, whatever.
Right.
But she said, stop apologizing. We don't have to apologize for who we are. And she said, embrace the idea of things that we want for ourselves. So even if nobody understands, like I know my family doesn't really understand that I like to, I sell, I'm a rep of Juice Plus and doTERRA, and also having my own home business. My family didn't really understand, like, why are you doing that? Why? And I'm like, because Peter's 3 and I don't want to go through all of the mess of daycare and moving back, you know, going back and forth, and he had surgeries and whatever. But it's like, we don't have to explain ourselves to everybody. We don't have to apologize for what our why is, because your why is not my why in moving forward. And so, or in any part of life. But she has 3 parts of the book that she talks about. And the first part is about the importance of letting go of the excuses, because we all can come up with any excuse to move forward in life, in our business, or whatever. And she said that we're all so much more, we're capable of doing so much more, all of us. It doesn't matter who we are. And so we have to start thinking that, you know, when the thoughts of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the time, I'm too busy with the kids, you know, I'll whatever it is, she said that's what that keeps us from moving forward, is that negative thoughts to ourselves. You know, and one of the examples she gave in the book is, in which I really enjoyed, was, oh, it's not what other women do. Other women stay home and they take care of their kids, and you can't have both a business or a career and raise your kids. And that's just not true. You can have you can have a life work balance, but you have to work at that. You have to have the motivation to make sure that you keep that in check. And it can be hard to keep that in check. But again, we don't have to apologize, because we do have a work and we do have a life, or, you know, children. And one of the examples she gave in this was that she loved her life. She loved her business. She loved having an office outside the house, and she loved all of that, but she was too embarrassed to put it out on social media or to tell her family, because she didn't want to have the criticism. She was afraid of what people were going to say to her. And so the first part about, you know, letting go, just let go of the excuses and move forward. So that was really interesting. And then the second part she discussed was how to adapt behaviors so that we can move forward and see the results of what it is we want to do. And she talked about one of them that she talked about was embracing your ambition. So we have the ambition. If we have the ambition, we can make our goals and our dreams come true. It's just having the ambition to move forward and do it. And if we adapt the behavior of thinking about what's actually happening to make our dreams come true, then versus the possibilities of, oh, what if I'm not smart enough? What if I'm not good enough? That then we're holding ourselves back when it's never going to happen because we're too afraid. And so that was really interesting to me, one of those topics that she talked about. And then the third, I loved this one. The third is developing the skills. So she talks about the importance of letting go, then discusses adaptive behavior, how to adapt behaviors to make it happen. And then the third is developing the skills. And one of them she talked about was planning. And that is what we talk to people about all the time, even for ourselves. you have to plan in order to have success. If you don't plan with an end goal in sight, if you don't plan with a goal, budget in sight, you're not going to make it, because you're not going to, it's just going to be happening and happening. And also, when you have those goals, it's important to look back and say, are we on track to make this happen? Or are we not on track to make this happen? So, and then I just love the part though, where stop apologizing. We can do what we want. We're good enough. Let's just do it. So I advise, I don't advise, I suggest you need to know. I recommend this book because I thought it was really good, as well as Girl, Wash Your Face. So that was my book for today.
I love it. I love it because a lot of the things, it is all what's, you're thinking about. And, the apology part of it, I help my clients because we're so quick to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I help them to, I teach a lot about conscious language. And so it's like, what if you say, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate I was late for the meeting. It's unfortunate I didn't make the event. It takes a different tone. And, the sorry comes back like the little child feeling, to where when you say it's unfortunate, it doesn't put anyone at fault. So, those are some things that, are empowering when you can like go beyond her book and start finding these things, like you said, to keep you in your lane, to keep you focused. Accountability is huge. Like I have an accountability program starting in January because I recognize that a lot of my clients, and even myself personally, if you don't have that, like the plan you said, but if you don't have someone checking that plan, and not in a way that it's like, you better do the plan or, you're falling behind. It's never about that. It's just, you start feeling good when you can share with someone who's holding you accountable, who's holding that space for you to be able to celebrate yourself. Because again, that's where we lack, right? We don't get to celebrate ourselves. We shrink. And then that's where we become like, I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing. When I left teaching after only 7 years, having gone back to school at the age of 30 for 4 years, and then going into owning and operating 2 golf courses, my dad thought I was crazy. He's like, you're going to give up your teaching to do that? And I just went forward with it. It's like, if I would have listened to what everyone said, I wouldn't have done it. But I knew in my heart, deep down, the desire, and made the scary leap into what has just created, even more for my life.
Right. Well, 2 things you said there, the accountability. We had a coach for 5 years we went to, and she said we had accountability partners, and we would check in with them once or twice a week for 10 minutes. That was it, 10 minutes. Yep. You can't, each of you got 5 minutes to say what your goals were for the week, what you were struggling with. And it was great because you knew you were going to have that call, and you knew you got to be accountable, for what you're doing. And going back to, I forgot about this. When I worked in the law firm, before I started my own business, and I went to score the thing. And the guy at SCORE said, I had my plan, I had everything written out. And he said, why in the world would you want to leave a law firm where you're getting 401k, you're getting your insurance? That would be like the stupidest move you could make. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Right.
But, so I was just like, okay, but I took the leap anyway, and it was a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs a coach.
They do.
In some form or some capacity, because to me, I started probably 12 years ago working with a coach myself, and I've used different coaches for different things. You evolve and change. And, one of the things about my service is I'm kind of like someone that can give you like the smorgasbord of what coaching experiences are like, and then define, what do you need next? Do I need an author, a coach that's going to help me author my book? Or do I need a coach that's going to help me do sales and marketing better? Or am I going, and then my toolbox as an entry-level coach, basically for those in business and wanting to create their life better, is all of that. People, I think, have a misperception of, well, if I have a coach, it's like, oh, well, there's something wrong, that I need a coach. And that's where, people are starting to see that empowerment of, wow, why would I not have a coach? Sometimes I have 2 or 3 coaches because I'm doing different things, and I want those experts in that arena to help me.
Yeah. And I have a talk about that, like moving your business from one 5 figures to 6 figures or whatever, or 7 figures. And I talk about that. Everybody needs a coach. And it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. It means that you are successful, that you want to be successful, because you know that you don't know everything. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's one of
Exactly.
the tips. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
even Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey, they all have coaches. It's not like, it's like, yes, that's where it really just keeps you playing the game strong, playing your story out, having your journey and your experience, and it gets you out of that negative mindset or that negative energy or that, losing hope. And, it's just, that's what fuels your soul when you have someone that's not biased, someone that's there to cheer you on and get you laser focused so you can really accomplish what you desire and not let 20 years go by and go, oh man, if I would have only, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it won't be that heavy. Even if we do have to navigate or, pivot or, go a different direction, it's always been, for me, I've up leveled every decade. I've
yeah.
up leveled in my career, in myself, in my finances, in my relationships. And it's like, okay, if this is how we're going to play, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah.
great. Let me just tell you, if anybody's watching and you want to post any questions or post your favorite book in the group, that would be great. And we'll share them out to everybody. And so I just wanted to pop that in there. And so now, Melissa, what is one of your favorite books you'd like to talk about today? I know you.
Well, there was a ton of them. And when you asked me the question, I was like, I usually go to what I normally talk about is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Mhm.
And that's working in your zone of genius. But I wanted to give a book that really is entry level into all of this thoughts becomes things concept that was written by Mike Dooley, which is Leveraging the Universe.
Okay.
And he just has a really great way of talking about, he was in The Secret, the movie The Secret, and he's very well known internationally now, but he wrote this was about the 7 steps to engaging life's magic. And it just was the game changer for me. The things that were included first was talking about the visualization. Like we get in our mind a thought, and usually it's a thought of what we know from our experiences and from the past. So what this helps you do is get beyond that. So I like to say you draw the line in the sand and start looking forward. That story is great behind you and you've learned lessons, but what can we visualize out into the future? So me buying a golf course wasn't just going in and making that transaction. I had to mentally think about, well, what does that look like? And who am I? And how do I become? And what am I doing? So it's really good with the visualization. The other piece of that, I wrote some notes down here. Let me put my glasses on so I can read them. The awareness, again, with the visualization, the awareness of how your thoughts are actually creating your reality. So if you're like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm fat, too short, whatever, that's what you're going to get more of. So when you're trying to lose weight, it might be releasing the weight, but it's releasing something else even bigger. So it's learning to use a dialogue. And as I mentioned, that conscious language is what I love to help people, because we're so programmed with negative, because when you're growing up, when you're little, you're told all the things, oh, that's bad, that's hot, that's not good, you can't do that. Like we get so much of that programming that we want to be our own cheerleader now and start creating those thoughts that are going to create a better reality. And if nothing else, this year has been one of those years to make us really question, what we're doing and what we're creating in our lives.
Yeah.
And then once you can install those new beliefs, it's like laying down new tracks, then that's where you take your life. You take it lighter. This was the big shift for me in this book. I was always so, I got to do it right. I got to get ahead. I got to do it before I, don't get the opportunity. I might die if I don't get this, whatever that looked like. Like I moved out as a senior in high school and had my own apartment because why not? I was like on this fast track that I had to get all this stuff done. Also, I came into life as the 5th child of the family who wasn't planned. So I had to prove myself that I'm worthy. But that's, that was all story that I had developed over the years. So when I locked into this new concept, even though I had managed to, be very successful in living, a great life and doing the things I wanted to do, this helped it be not so urgent. It helped me to like pause and really embrace in that moment. So life became much lighter. And it still is today because I've learned these elements that have helped me to really like go in. And then, supporting, I started 5 years ago coaching women with golf and off the course. And so, they always say the teacher learns best what they teach or needs to know what they teach. But that's where all of this has just, like the 5 steps to your own drive book that I wrote, it all relates to this whole thing that's been going on many, many centuries that people already knew this secret.
Right. Right. Well, that's great. Would you mind putting that in the conversation when we're done
Yeah,
today?
absolutely.
And then because we're making a list of all these books people are sharing, and we're going to share it out to people.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that would be great.
And I'll even put the one about the big leap, because like I said, that's another one that
Yeah.
that's really inspiring for someone who's really leveling up their businesses.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
And I wanted to jump into and say, I love the conscious language part, because I have a coach that I'm working with, and she talks about that all the time. Like if I say something negative or whatever, she's like, how about if you word it this way? You know, and it's so true, because when you do word it the right way, you don't feel negative. You feel
Exactly.
much more positive. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
everything's energy. So we're on this energy plane. So, you know, the good words and the positive is going to take you up there, which then brings in more of that. But when you're down here and the, you know, the sadder and the defeating conversations, you're just your body, and you can practice that. It's like if you grasp your hands together and how you're, you know, normally would do it, and then make it go the opposite way. There you go. Just switch it. See how that feels a little uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because your energy knows this is right, this feels good, I like it like this. But when I turn it the other way, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't think. And so then you start this whole like thing, like, well, why does that feel uncomfortable? How come well, who cares? We want to feel good. So we're going to, you know, so it's just those little tips that you can really empower yourself with, so that you don't have to feel like you can't go from stuck to unstoppable, because it truly is there for you just to jump in and get the support you need, and just believe and trust. And every day is a new day to start over. So, or build upon the next.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. It's always great seeing you too, Colleen. I love that we've had this ongoing relationship since we met years ago. So
yeah, me too.
And you're doing amazing work in the world. I love seeing those individuals who are getting their message down in books, and seeing that come to fruition. So well done, my friend.
And you're doing great too. I mean, I got to put in something here. When we met for lunch last year before all of this, remember? And you were talking about how you do everything cash now, blah, 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 whatever. I'm getting my husband to do that. Like, we are paying off debt, and I'm like, we are not charging. We are not.
Oh, good for you.
Off topic, people, but really, I mean, it's part of growing, and it's part of knowing. But I don't like credit card debt, but you know, sometimes it happened. But I'm like, nope, we are not charging anything. It's cash.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, and you know, it doesn't get there overnight. It takes some time. One of my clients had told me that I worked with a couple of years ago, we set this all in motion, and she had her debt paid off within the year, and she bought her new car, put a $12,000 deposit down on it. I mean, it's like she got really aligned with the whole concept, and that's what happens. Money will come out of nowhere. Unexpected things will get paid off. You know, it just. But I was not someone who was good with money, and I had to learn that. And so now I get to teach others about that too, especially in a business, because, you know, business money flows in, you know, really rapidly. It's knowing what to do with it beyond that. So
Right. Yeah.
But,
Well, thanks so much for joining me today. It was great. And like I said, I'll talk to you in just a few minutes. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Share this out if you found it informational and fun. That's what this whole 12 days is about. Enjoying ourselves, having some fun, but sharing information too. Take care, and we will talk soon. Bye.
Bye.